since the caller mentioned it, Alan, we do have it here on the stack. Document cam, please, for TV viewers. Blowback, U.S. trained ISIS at secret Jordan base. Well, this is the kind of blowback you want. I told you about this secret base in the last 3 years. They also have them in western Iraq. And I told you 3 months ago when they started taking Fallujah, they would end up taking at least half the country, and we're being armed by the criminals that run our government. So WorldNet Daily is doing a good job with their incredible Israeli and Jordanian sources. I mean, they did break that Odinga, Obama's cousin, was fencing the money by the millions in to the Muslim Brotherhood to overthrow Egypt. That came out in court. But it's not blowback. Our military trained these al-Qaeda forces, gave them the weapons, along with Saudi Arabian military and Qatari, training them, and French commandos and British commandos. All of those bases are over in Turkey. It's even more over in Turkey. That's where they would launch the fake chemical attacks on Assad. I'm not romanticizing Assad. He didn't do anything. He didn't attack anybody. He was democratizing. And then our government doesn't want them having a nice place where you want to go visit and go to their great beaches and go scuba diving or go see the ancient Roman and Greek ruins. There are better Roman ruins, folks, in Syria than there are in Rome. I wanted to go there 5, 10 years ago. If I could have chosen a place to go, it'd have been Syria. I've read the travel journals. It's incredible. We're talking 3,000-year-old open-air markets that are like you can't believe, and they're clean and safe. Not anymore, they aren't. They've all been blown up. All been blown up. And the damn al-Qaeda people have been blowing up the ruins as well. There's nothing worse than al-Qaeda. I am so sick of them. I hate their guts. Blowing up ancient Buddhist temples and you name it. And then, in fact, the guys are putting on screen stuff they've blown up. Please take it down. I mean, they don't just kill Christians and innocent people. They blow up ruins. If it's evil, they do it. See, I get really angry, folks. I really do. That I'm a suspect, I'm a terrorist, according to Homeland Security, because I'm pro-freedom. And then the government runs al-Qaeda, and the TSA's too stupid, the FBI's too dumb, the public doesn't know what end is up. Here it is. I'm going to your calls. Blowback. U.S.-trained IS secret Jordan base, members of the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant of the ISIS were trained in 2012 by U.S. instructors working at a secret base in Jordan. Yeah, I've had military on about that base because they would joke to them in English, we're going to kill you after we're done in Syria and Iraq. And so there were fights and stuff breaking out, and there was kind of a rebellion that hadn't been reported on yet. You heard it here years ago, but it will come out someday, that there was even reportedly a little more happened, and that the military refused to train them after a while. Mainly because this show, and this is on record in the British news, this show pointed it out, Assad pointed it out, MI6 hacked Assad's emails, and it was talking about me and InfoWars and how they were going off my analysis in the Syrian government for their propaganda. Well, it isn't propaganda, it's the truth. By the way, if you just joined us, look at the London Independent, London Guardian, Google Infowars.com, Assad emails, click web, and you'll get the news articles in England where this was going on. So we exposed it with our military sources. Assad picked it up, put it out, that why are you aiding al-Qaeda? Then the rest of the media picked it up. Ted Cruz picked it up. Rand Paul picked it up. And then it was over. No more public backing of these people. So that's the power of Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. But here it is. Members of the Islamic State of Iraq, the ISIS, were trained by U.S. military. The officials said dozens of IS members were trained, about thousands, at the time as part of a covert aid to insurgents targeting the regime of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad in Syria. The officials said the training was not meant to be used for any future campaign in Iraq. Yeah, right. That's why they did the base right on the border with Iraq. The Jordanian officials said the ISIS members who received U.S. training to fight in Syria were first vetted for any links to extremist groups like al-Qaeda. Oh, that's a good one. Here's another one. U.S. aid spawning new breed of jihadist, also out of WorldNet Daily, out of Beirut, Lebanon, with F. Michael Malouf. We got to get Malouf on. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, this is to cause a proxy war. Let's go to your calls. I'm going to shut up and go to your calls. Just the caller brought it up. So I thought I would just mention it. If you guys can't find that, which is no big deal, just call Watson. He wrote an article about it. He can pull it up for you. I'm not putting down your search skills. Watson's even better than me. He can find anything. Alan, that was the point you raised. I thought I would back up what you were saying. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, sir. I had one follow-up point. In my own research, I discovered that on October 31st, 2012, Hillary Clinton, then Secretary of State, arrived at Zagreb International Airport in Croatia. Now, coincidentally, several weeks later, and this was uncovered by the New York Times in a paper in England, 75 cargo plane loads started moving through that airport, the exact same airport Hillary visited. Those weapons were coming from Croatia, and they were going through Turkey and through Jordan and right to the border, and then they were trucked over the border into Syria, the same MO.
Oh, no, that's all on record. They actually had al-Qaeda bases in Iraq. And then Maliki would attack them, and our media would call him a devil for suppressing his loving citizens. I mean, if you turn on CNN right now, they're saying every hour, because I've watched it 2 hours off and on this morning and last night, they're saying, well, the president of Iraq asked for it. He's a bad guy. And then no wonder they're going, well, we don't want to do anything to al-Qaeda. I mean, why do you think they can get away with this? It's so obvious.
The question is, are the troops going to wake up? Remember when they started saying, I don't want to be part of the al-Qaeda Air Force? Where's this going to go now that he's sending spec ops into Iraq? What are the troops there in the middle?
It's incredible, brother. It's totally incredible. God bless you. I appreciate your call. By the way, the guys had put it on screen. I hadn't seen it. Type in Assad's emails, Infowars.com, and then click that, and it brings up mainstream news where Assad was going off, Infowars.com. I never really bragged about it at the time because it's not something you brag about. But that's the type of stuff that comes out. Because we really know what's going on. And the Russian government listens to us. I had the number 3 guy at the time from the Japanese government on. All right, let's go right back to your calls. Let's talk to Rich in Oregon. Rich, thanks for holding her on the air.
It's a pleasure to talk to you again, Alex Jones.
Good to talk to you.
Hey, I was, got to tell you, I started watching Jesse Ventura in about 2010. I believe this show was Conspiracy Theory.
Yes.
And I don't even know how I got hooked up with yours, but I was pretty skeptical of you in the beginning. And over the last, I would say, year and a half, I've actually gotten my eyes open more and more, and I actually became a supporter of InfoWars, you know what I mean? So I seen this thing with Megyn Kelly, was that last night, I guess it was, about talking about what you said. I want to say it's been a couple of years ago over Benghazi.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. How many times, because we will not be able to find a clip, it's a needle in a haystack, how many hundreds of times, or how many times have you heard me or have you not heard me say they'll give the cruise, the Stinger missiles to al-Qaeda, then they'll say they're going to shoot down our airliners, and they're going to attack America, we've got to take your rights?
Oh, yeah, I've heard you say it a lot of times, but you know what, again, that goes back to being a little skeptic, so I started researching myself, you know what I mean? And you can find all kinds of things on the internet, and believe it or not, I mean, it's kind of your choice. But when you're backing up stuff with documents and proof, that's why I thought that, I don't know if you got a crystal ball or you just got real good intel, but you were on the money, and I got to tell you, the only way I know how to fix anything like this is to break the back of the beast is not to give it the money. You know? I don't know how to exactly do that. I guess like with paying taxes, then we're all going to get in trouble for that. However, there's got to be a way. I mean, I don't like my money going over there killing all those people and giving the enemy, Al-Qaeda, or whatever they're going by these days, stuff that we bought for them.
And then they go, oh, gee, weapons they got, they're using them on Iraq. Oh, but the leader of Iraq deserves it. I mean, they're not even covering it up anymore. That's the disdain they have for us. God bless you. Great points. And then there's this argument, well, Iran's backing the other side. Iran's not attacking anybody right now. Iran's trying to do peace deals. Whoever offensively starts the wars is in the wrong. But it's just like we attacked Iraq after 9/11. If we get attacked with a new 9/11, will we attack England? The enemy of Saudi Arabia, Shiite Iraq, got attacked by the United States when supposedly Saudi Arabia attacked us with proof. See, 2 plus 2 doesn't equal 1,000 like they say. 2 plus 2 says Saudi Arabia is deep involved in all this, and of course they are. And it's now admitted they're behind the ISIS army. That's an army. That's not just a group of terrorists throwing hand grenades that popped up out of a jack-in-the-box somewhere. And this is their plan to ruin Iraq. When the globalists get control of a country, folks, they wreck it. Look at what they're doing to America with the borders and the jobs. And very frustrating. Very frustrating. And also Saudi Arabia wants to export all its jihadis out of their country. Because Al-Qaeda is so horrible, folks, they're sometimes trying to bomb their own papa. King Saud. Let's go to the Megyn Kelly clip in case you just joined us again. And it's on all the channels. We have a bunch of these clips saying, get ready, here come the Stinger missiles. And I couldn't believe it this morning, and I tried to get video of it on my iPhone, but it ended. I was watching CNN, and they said, undoubtedly, we've got to come up with measures to stop these Stinger missiles from being used, you know, to shoot down our planes. And the lady's like, well, what do we do? And then the other commentator goes, yes, what do we do, to the security analyst? They go, we may have to put security at perimeters around the airport. See, I just envisioned they'll be 5 miles away from an airport, and they'll just have checkpoint to look for Stinger missiles. Because they gave Al-Qaeda Stinger missiles. No one will debate that or discuss that. It's just now checkpoints everywhere. Constitution-free zones, not just near the border, but anywhere in America, because, oh, there might be a Stinger missile. No Stinger missiles under here, none under there. If you want to conquer a country, how do the globalists want to conquer the country? Do they openly come out and attack Americans? No, no, no. They protect us by taking our rights and surveilling us and setting up checkpoints to fight Al-Qaeda, but then admitting Homeland Security is really training to fight who? The American people. 76% of the American people live within 100 miles of the border of the coast. And within 100 miles, there is no Constitution, according to Homeland Security. They call it Constitution-free zones. And now, anyone near an airport within 5, watch. I mean, I know how they operate. And then when Al-Qaeda hits a train station, then see, oh, somebody shot up a school? Now the schools are prisons. See? To protect it, of course. Let's go ahead and go to Megyn Kelly about the Stinger missiles.
But today we learned that the same group may now be in possession of a deadly cache of American-made firepower, Stinger missiles. They are powerful enough to take down a commercial airliner.
Meanwhile, our reporters are down at the border and about to file a bunch of reports where the Border Patrol messes with them when they're white guys, a Hispanic guy, and a black guy with cameras with microphone flags, clearly press, but let the illegals pull in buses and in front of them and load up on vans to be driven into the country. Meanwhile, in Virginia and other states, in cities that are collapsing, the towns are saying, we're not going to have the local city building house all these illegals. These are Democrat cities, by the way, in New York, Virginia, and other areas, in Pittsburgh, you name it, Pennsylvania, where everything's collapsing. And they're seeing their precious Democrats house the illegals to get the federal funds and all the rest of it. Fighting back, residents force feds to scrap plan to house illegals in Virginia College. Folks, it's on. It's on. Again, shutting the power plants off, shutting the factories off, devaluing the dollar, shipping the jobs overseas, opening the borders completely up, wide open. This article just went live at Infowars.com. Border Patrol investigates reporters, but not flood of illegals. Yeah, next we're going to send our reporters to these bus stations right over the border where the illegals disgorge and then get right on buses from Catholic churches, Protestant churches, evangelicals. They're all in on it. and then they just bus them in to be given their voter ID cards, I guess. That story and video is up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. And this stuff is so outrageous that if we just all expose it, it will boomerang back on the establishment. There's a good chance that we can turn this around. This is desperation by the political class doing this. Jerry in Georgia, thanks for holding. You're on the air. Then Todd.
Hi, Alex. I just wanted to say that this whole situation should be portrayed as Obama's Pearl Harbor. This is either the biggest failure of the intelligence community in his administration, or he chose to look the other way as an army of 1,000 vehicles and thousands of men was amassed. So which is it? You're
talking about the ISIS. Well, look, the illegal alien takeover is a giant army politically, and what's happening in Iraq, and what's happening with George Soros bragging he backed the overthrow in Ukraine with literal right-wing Nazis taking over and killing people. Notice they're moving on all fronts. That's when you know all hell's going to break loose, brother. This is only the beginning. Do you see what's happening? A global destabilization program, right as the food prices are set to double. Hyperinflation, brother. Can you imagine the hell that's about to break loose?
Oh, absolutely. But the way to get the sheeple to understand is to ask the simple question. I mean, did the entire intelligence community, the satellites, the predators, the global hawks, all this miss an army? Or did Obama ignore his daily morning folder of intelligence and decide to overlook an army being massed outside Iraq? One of the two. It's a simple one or two. Which was it? Because last week, all I heard was 3 obsolete tanks from Russia went to Ukraine. So they can't miss 3 tanks, but they somehow missed 8,000 men and 1,000 vehicles. So
they don't miss a few hundred Russian troops infiltrating to be observers in eastern Ukraine, and they know all about that in their names, but they didn't know tens of thousands of men from multiple angles, now hundreds of thousands, loading up in armored vehicles with weapons pouring in. They knew nothing about it. Listen, blowback, U.S.-trained ISIS at secret Jordan base. We told people this years ago, folks. This was planned. But
well, if we put the pressure on, you're going to have somebody, hopefully from the intelligence community, coming out and saying, no, we did our job. We told the president, he was briefed, he ignored it.
I totally agree with you, and there's no debating it. But then the emails will just disappear like with IRS Gate. See, that's the thing. If the current power structure doesn't get in trouble for this, the sky's the limit. I mean, they can do anything. With black al-Qaeda flags that say, al-Qaeda on them, they're invading, and our media is going, well, the Iraqi government deserves it. It's outrageous. Before I go any further, please don't forget this hour was brought to you by mypatriotsupply.com/Alex. Super high quality, great, non-GMO, organic foods. What I personally trust for myself and my family. Super high quality. The containers that comes in, great customer service. The place to get your storable foods in these crazy times, mypatriotsupply.com/Alex. And don't forget, support us at InfoWarsStore.com with the Molon Lambe clothing, with the high-quality supplements, the water filters, the videos, the books. InfoWarsStore.com, and become a PrisonPlanet.tv member to see the nightly news, all the films. You are funding the tip of the spear. We pledge to you to be as hardcore and vicious as possible with the truth. From the water table to our soils to the atmosphere itself, our world is becoming more and more toxic each and every day. But it's not just the air outside that's toxic. Indoor air has been shown to have 2 to 5 times higher concentrations of pollutants than even outdoor air. And most Americans spend 90% of their time inside using toxic chemicals within their homes. There are more than 42 million smokers in the United States. Well over 1,000 types of mold and mildew linked to numerous conditions. And don't forget the fact that 6 million Americans live with pets they're allergic to as well. When I began to research these statistics, it was clear to me it was time to start cleansing my lungs in order to combat the toxic environment that we cannot escape, but that we can fight back against. Made with organic and wild cultivated herbs and manufactured in the USA, the new InfoWars Life Lung Cleanse is here in a convenient spray bottle that can be brought with you throughout any toxic environment. Now available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.